What's up, everybody? So we're back on the shop with another Shop Talk Tuesday, and in this episode we're going to be talking about Blade Show Atlanta 2024. Now, I'm going as a viewer, I guess you could say that, not really an exhibitor, because I'm not exhibiting. I don't have a table. I am on the waiting list for a table, but we'll see if that ever happens. Now, when it comes down to this particular show, it is like the largest one out of the three. And I really like going just for the experience. Now, I of course do need to pick up a couple of things that people only sell at this particular show. So I've got to get a couple of things for some projects that I have coming up. And so I'm going to go do that. I'm going to talk to vendors. I'm going to talk to... So just to give you an idea of what a YouTuber or an influencer, which I don't really consider myself an influencer, does at these Blade shows is we get in touch with vendors, we talk to fellow knife makers, we link up with other YouTubers that are there and things like that. That is one of the cool things for shows like this. Now, it's a 16-hour drive there and a 16-hour drive back, so it is a lot, but the cool thing is I'm not having to pay for any room cost or anything like that, because I've got Chip from the podcast. He's got the hotel covered and all of those things. Now, what I am going to do is, of course, I have to cover my food and gas and all that stuff, but the goal for this, again, is just for me to be able to go there, film some stuff. That way I can actually bring back the experience of me doing this to y'all. Because not everybody's going to be able to go to Blade Show Atlanta. So I like filming the experience. So I film a little bit of the drive. I film at the rest stops whenever I take a break. I film the actual show. I might put out a video on Friday, and then a video on Saturday, and then a video on Tuesday. I don't know exactly how I'm going to work that out, but I like to film the actual experience for y'all so that y'all can actually feel like y'all went there. And that has been my goal each year that I've actually done this. Now, of course, if I could go live, I'll go live for a little bit, but the cell service is always really spotty in that place. So the live streams don't exactly tend to work out real well, but we'll see how that goes. Now, this event is a huge event. Like I said, I get to see a lot of the people that I only get to see once a year, like actually being able to see the podcast guys from the Templar podcast all together and go and eat dinner and do things like that. I'm really excited about this. Now, I'm hoping that in 2025 I'll be able to actually have a booth there, but we'll see what happens. Now, like I said, kind of what a person like me does at these shows is I go and talk to people, I film stuff, I make sure they understand that I'm filming it for YouTube and not filming it to try and steal their ideas or anything like that, even though it's kind of funny. Because, yeah, am I filming this stuff? Sure. But there are a ton of people who are just walking around looking at the things and taking notes and actually stealing their ideas. Or they could just go on Google and look up a lot of the stuff that these people have made and steal their ideas. So for the fact that they think that I'm filming it to steal their ideas, it's kind of funny, because most of their work is on the internet and you can just go and take whatever you want. But that's beside the point. That was my first Blade Show Atlanta, where I was filming people's stuff and they kept telling me, you can film it, but you can't make it, blah, blah, blah. Again, like I've always said, anything that you've seen me made, you can technically make, as long as you're willing to try and make it. Anyways, now, again, I go there, talk to people, talk to vendors. The point behind talking to vendors is so that I can either get a future sponsorship or I can get stuff, because the channel costs money. doing this in the shop costs money, and if I can minimize the cost by being able to get a discount from certain things because of the fact that I am a quote-unquote influencer within, you know, knife making. But again, I still feel weird saying that title, name, or whatever because I'm 40 and I'm not 17. Yeah, you'll get the point. But my goal is to go and talk to the vendors and being able to bring in some of their stuff to my shop without paying a lot of money. So we'll see how all of that goes. You know, I go to these shows to be able to do things like that. I want to be able to see people. I want to be able to talk to people. I want to be able to get ideas. And what I suggest is if you're going to go to a show like this, that you talk to as many of the vendors and the knife makers as possible. Don't just go there and talk to the knife makers. You know, a lot of us give advice on stuff like that, like go and talk to as many knife makers as you can. Go and talk to the vendors as well so that you can kind of start building relationships with these vendors. The cool thing about the knife making community is a lot of the times whenever you're talking to the grinder companies, the heat treat companies, or all these different companies, whenever you call their phone number, you're actually going to talk to either one of the founders of the company, one of the owners of the company, or someone who's been with the company for a while. And that's really, really cool. And it's not just one of those things where, like on Amazon, we go and we just buy the stuff, and most of the time we have no clue what company it even came from. These companies within knife making, you can actually call and get ideas from the people who sell you the grinders and sell you the tools and sell you the stuff like that. You can actually call them and say, hey, I was using it, it did this, what do I do to fix that? Or hey, I kind of want to do this with the grinder, what do I need to do this? And they will actually tell you and hang out on the phone with you for like 30-45 minutes trying to figure out what to do. These vendors are different than what you're used to. You go to Walmart, you don't just talk to the owner of Walmart. You go to United or Sam's or Costco or any of these things. I don't know where all of y'all live in all of y'all's grocery stores. But whenever you go to those stores, you buy stuff, but you never talk to the people who own it or anything like that. Knife making community is different. So I like going to these shows and actually talking to those guys in person and picking their brains, because a lot of them are knife makers who also make tools, and getting ideas behind maybe tools that I want to create, tools that I want to make, and tools that I want to use in the future. So that's kind of important for me. And I do suggest that don't just go to the shows and talk to just the knife makers, but also talk to the vendors. And that is my goal to every single one. Talk to fellow knife makers, talk to vendors, talk to fellow YouTubers and content creators, pick everybody's brains, they'll pick my brain. We will talk about collaborations in the future, we'll do all kinds of stuff, and that is huge for me. Does this trip cost me a lot of money that I don't get recouped on? Yes, it absolutely does. Which is why I would suggest that you maybe go to my website and scoop up something. Because it helps recoup costs for doing things like this, because I'm not selling at this show. So I'm paying for all the fuel, food, and stuff that I have to get there to come back and use to make content with. All of that stuff costs money, and I'm not recouping that by selling anything there. I'm just going there and spending money to be able to do all of this. So yeah, if you want to go buy a knife, that would be cool. I think I have a really inexpensive one on there, one of my EDCs. I've got a few that are like really good prices. So again, riversexperience.com, go check that out and maybe scoop up a knife, because that will help with trips like this. So yeah, do that, guys. If I was going to give any advice during this, other than the little tidbits of advice that I sprinkled through the actual thing, it would be, if you're going to get into knife making, think about going to your first show. Whether you're going to just participate in the show as a viewer or an exhibitor, make sure you're going to, if you have local shows, if you have slightly bigger shows that are somewhat near you, go to those shows, look at it, experience it, because eventually you might want to get into the whole knife show kind of circuit type thing, and you'll want to know what to expect. It'll make your life a lot easier when it comes to either exhibiting at your first show or selling your knives and things like that. It just makes it easier. And I would suggest that if you've made a little bit of knives, to try and be an exhibitor at a show. Your local gun and knife show will be an experience. You might not sell many things, but at least you'll be able to experience the show. But if you can go to a show that's slightly bigger than that and display your work, it would be absolutely awesome. And you can sell some of the stuff, and you can get customer feedback, you can get fellow knife maker feedback, and it makes your life just not really easier, but it makes it easier. So it's one of those things where I, of course, did Blade Show Texas and then did smaller shows, and that was kind of crazy. I probably shouldn't have been, I probably shouldn't have done it in that order. I probably should have done the gun and knife show and then the Texas Select show and then Blade Show. That way I could kind of work my way up to it, but it is what it is. I did it kind of backwards. I would suggest that you go gun and knife show, slightly bigger show, and then maybe Blade Show. But anyways, those things are awesome experiences, and it lets people actually see your work. Being able to do it on YouTube, I get to show a lot of people my work at a time, which is really cool. But being able to have people hold the stuff and give you real cool feedback is just awesome. So hopefully you take that under advice and you actually try and take your stuff to a show. Guys, that's the end of this Shop Talk Tuesday. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, which is crazy because you're watching this, you're most likely subscribed. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there, and I'll catch y'all next time.